In a small riverside village, surrounded by green fields and muddy shores, lived a boy named Harish. His father was a fisherman who spent long days on the river, catching fish to feed the family. Their home was a tiny hut made of bamboo and thatch, and when the monsoon came, the river often rose high enough to touch their doorstep. Every year during the floods, the villagers lost something: homes, boats, or even lives. Harish had seen neighbors cry as their loved ones were swept away by the violent current. He had seen his own father wade through chest-deep water to rescue others. One night, after a terrible storm, Harish stood by the riverbank. Broken boats floated past him, and the cries of people echoed in the dark. His father returned shivering, his clothes soaked. "We couldn't save them all," he whispered. Harish clenched his fists. That night, he made a silent promise: he would build a boat that could never sink. From the next day, Harish started gathering scraps, pieces of wood, old nails, and metal sheets that washed up near the shore. He spent hours studying how boats floated and why they capsized. When he spoke about his dream, people laughed. "Harish," they said, "you're just a fisherman's son. You can't build boats. That's work for big companies in cities." But Harish remembered his father's tired eyes and the fear that haunted their village every monsoon. So, he kept working quietly, carving small models from wood and testing them in the river. When one design sank, he studied why. When another floated longer, he made notes. His schoolteacher, Guru Raman, noticed his curiosity. One day, he called Harish aside. "You spend so much time near the river. What are you doing there, my boy?" Harish hesitated but then spoke with honesty. "Guruji, I want to build a boat that doesn't sink, so people won't die when the floods come." Guru Raman smiled. "That's a big dream, Harish. But big dreams need big learning. If you promise to study hard, I'll help you find a way." With his teacher's help, Harish got access to a small library in town. Every weekend, he walked 10 kilometers to read about wood density, buoyancy, and water pressure. He learned from every drawing and diagram, sometimes copying them onto old newspapers because he couldn't afford notebooks. At night, he continued helping his father fish. But after everyone slept, Harish would light a lantern and sketch boat designs in the sand outside his hut. Years passed. He grew into a young man, strong and determined. He applied for a technical scholarship and, against all odds, was selected for a boat-building course in the city. For the first time, he left his village. The city was overwhelming: bright lights, busy roads, and people who never stopped moving. Many students there came from rich families. Some mocked Harish for his torn shoes and rural accent. But Harish had one thing no one could laugh away: purpose. After his studies, Harish returned to his village with nothing but knowledge, hope, and a small bag of tools. He began experimenting again, combining what he had learned with the local materials available. He discovered that by using lightweight bamboo frames coated with waterproof resin, he could create boats that were both strong and unsinkable. He built one and tested it in the river himself. The entire village gathered to watch. "If it sinks," someone whispered, "he'll lose everything." Harish pushed the boat into the water, climbed in, and rowed. The boat stayed steady, even as the waves rocked it. Cheers erupted on the shore. His father's eyes filled with tears. "You did it, my son," he said. "You've given our village hope." A year later, the biggest flood in decades struck the region. Houses drowned. Trees fell. Panic spread everywhere. But this time, Harish's boats were ready. He and his team of villagers used them to rescue dozens of families trapped in the water. Children, elders, and even livestock were brought to safety. The boats didn't sink, not a single one. News spread quickly. Reporters came from nearby towns to cover the fisherman's son who built flood-proof boats. Soon, Harish received government support to expand his project. He trained young people from nearby villages and built a small workshop called Nadi Jivan, meaning River of Life. One day, Guru Raman visited Harish's new workshop. The sound of hammers and saws filled the air. Young men and women were building boats with pride. Harish greeted his teacher with folded hands. "Guruji," he said, "it all started with your belief in me." The old teacher smiled. "No, Harish. It started when you believed in yourself." He placed a hand on Harish's shoulder and added softly, "You didn't just build boats, you built courage in the hearts of everyone who thought they were too small to make a difference."